Hi there, the aliens have definitely landed, and they've landed in the form of ADP. Now, unless you've been hiding under a rock somewhere, you'll know that this is the latest and absolutely most fabulous band, and they are called Angine de Poitrine. Now, I think I've got that wrong again. Anyway, somebody in my last video sort of suggested how to pronounce it, and then I couldn't find it. I really couldn't. I'm sure I saw it, and then it just sort of disappeared. Anyway, these guys are an antidote to well, we think as musicians, I think most musicians that have been commenting on this band think that these guys are not an antidote, but a response in some way to AI. Now, we're all flipping fed up. In fact, absolutely, totally out of our mind with craziness on this AI stuff that keeps appearing, and it's better, you know, people saying that it's better than real music, and then us lot saying that it's definitely not better than real. All it is our music all shoved together and re-recorded and messed about and turned into some slop. Anyway, so that's not what you're here for. We're here to have a listen to their latest album called Volume 2. Now, the production, not production, but the promotion around this album is particularly special, really. I mean, the timing couldn't have been better. I mean, you know, we're going off to the moon. There's aliens floating around. Well, there isn't, no, but these guys are a bit alien-like, you know, floating around. And it all sort of fitted all nicely together from a promotional package. And they came out on this radio station, of which I played an excerpt of one of the tracks, and then sort of did a reaction thing. For my very first reaction video, that was, by the way. And this is my very first sort of album review-ish. And yeah, so why don't we just... I mean, I think that they are brilliant. I really do like what they're doing. The very first time I heard them, I was like in a bit gobsmacked. Is that the word to use? You know, when you saw your mouth open, you're thinking, what the hell is this? And you're like sort of listening and analysing. This is the thing us musicians, you sort of do. I mean, it's not just musicians. I think everyone does it a bit. So we're sitting there, we're analysing it. We're thinking, what the hell is this? And why does that guitar look so weird? I mean, it's a double guitar. I mean, that's not weird in itself. But the fact that it's got twice as many frets as it should have, that's weird. And what's that drummer? Why has the drummer got a blanket over his drum kit and a weird headdress thing? And why is his eyes in his mouth and all that sort of stuff? So you start analysing, yeah? And then we're all sort of, I think we're all doing that, you know? We're looking at it and thinking, ugh. But then, after a few moments, it's not really moments, is it? I mean, I think every time I keep seeing them now, I'm looking at them and analysing and thinking, well, what is this? Is it music? Well, of course it's music. It's definitely music. And then you're sort of thinking, okay, come on, sit down and listen to the damn thing, yeah? So that's what I did. I had a good old listen to it, and yeah, it's cool, really cool, like it. So anyway, this album, let's play the first track, shall we? And it's Fabian. Now, these tracks we've probably heard. We have heard them anyway. Not all of. I don't know if we've heard all of them. I don't know. But basically, this is the same as what they were doing live. Okay, so let's listen to the first one, Fabian. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's like the sort of 54 seconds of the. Now I don't mind it being copyright claimed. I mean I really don't. I mean I'm a very tiny YouTuber, and I'm more than happy for these guys to get all of the sort of credit type, whatever you call it. Anyway, so so yeah, 54 seconds, but I don't want to ruin it because I want you guys to go off and listen to it yourself, and then obviously the band will get their royalties and all that sort of stuff. Now, so first thing I noticed about this this album was that I really liked the sound quality from the live radio gig that they did. I liked that. The drums were clean, and there was just something about the mixing that just I really liked. Now, I don't not like the mix that they've got on this one, but it's a little lo-fi. I don't know whether you can hear that yourself, which is all the rage, and I do get that. Everybody's doing sort of more lo-fi stuff. But the drums for me, and being a very, I mean, I'm a drummer. I'm pointing the wrong way. There you go. There's my drums. Haha. Being a bit of a drummer myself, and multi-instrumentalisty type thing, I like the drums to be clean, and these are sort of a little bit distorted. Okay, and that to me detracts from the radio show that they did. And one of the strange things that I've noticed on this is being played from Amazon Music, so I'm playing it on Amazon Music. And if you look at the statistics from Amazon Music, the first track has got lots and lots and lots of views. The second track steps down. The third track steps down again. The fourth track steps down even more, until you get to the last track where the plays step down again. So it's almost like this happens with albums. We know it does. It happens with albums. But what I would have expected is really, because these guys have absolutely flown into the atmosphere, as it were, and everybody's talking about them. There's a lot of hype around, good hype, which is good. This is the answer to AI, and we're all happy about that as musicians, especially slightly older musicians, which is unusual, isn't it, really? Because we're not supposed to like this new sort of music-y stuff. If you remember going way back to sort of, when you were a kid, as it were, and you'd, be listening to stuff, your parents would like, this newfangled flipping new romantic stuff, it's horrible stuff, don't like it, And one or two parents used to like the newer sort of music, like new romantics and punk. In fact, most parents hated punk, I think. I mean, it might be a sweeping statement there, but I think a lot of parents didn't really like punk. And yet, I'm a parent, and I'm listening to this and I'm liking it, and, well, that's strange. Now, I don't know whether that's a good thing for it. I mean, maybe, it may not be. Anyway, so getting back to the sound quality, I would prefer it to be a little cleaner. Preference, yeah, but that's probably because of what we've just heard. As in, we've just heard that radio show, and the radio show was mixed incredibly well. I mean, they're used to doing this sort of thing, obviously. And, when you listen to the album itself, you sit there and you immerse yourself with your headphones on, and it's a bit too distorted for me. Okay, that's my first thing. The track itself, we've heard it. And there we go. So that's Fabian, and it does change. Let's move it along just a little bit, and it goes through a bit of a process. Let's play another couple of seconds of it. And obviously it has like sections. It's an instrumental, isn't it? You know, I mean, we're not used to, well, as musicians, we're used to listening to instrumentals, but the public aren't really. I mean, they're more used to listening to things with vocals in and, you know, people dancing around the stage, you know, as it were. So, yeah, it's like a sort of a story, isn't it, from sort of, you know, the sections that it's all split up. So, okay, that's Fabian. Let's listen to the next one on the album, which is called Mataziliak. Yeah, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong as well, but let's have a listen, shall we? Okay, again, I don't want to play too much of it. Wow, that's cool. Now, when you're listening to this on the album, the stereo imaging is much better. I mean, he can't really, well, I suppose the mixer guy could do that, but it depends how the looper works and whether you can stick a looper to one channel and then put another track to another channel. You probably can, I don't know. I've never used a looper, I have to say. However, it does exactly what you'd expect it to do for a multi-tracked. I don't know, actually, thinking about it, we don't know, do we? We don't know whether this was recorded as a live session with him using his looper, or whether, I say he, or, you know, them, or was it recorded multi-tracked? I would go for the latter. I would say that it's probably a multi-track recording. Now, what we should try and realise here is how absolutely, well, it's incredibly difficult to be so precise with each other. And I mean the drums and the guitar, they are so in tune with each other. And I don't mean, you know, sort of tuning. I mean from a rhythmic perspective, you know, being a drummer, they're just so in time, perfectly in time with each other. And that comes from years and years and years and years of practice and their brilliant skills as musicians. And again, this just sounds slightly different to the radio I love the radio thing that they did. But this is just, it's got a little bit more of a heavy feel to it, more of a rocky, heavy feel to it because of the way that they've recorded it. Now, did they record, they must have recorded this before they did the radio show, I would think, and this was in pre-production and, well, you know, nearly ready probably. Now, it's just a bit heavier than I sort of remember from the radio show, just a little bit heavier, but what a fabulous song. It's really good, and it changes, you know, obviously. Go and listen to it, guys, if you haven't already listened to it, which I bet you probably have anyway. So let's go and listen to the third track on the album. I'm not going to try and pronounce that, Samyez or something. Okay, let's go for that one. Okay, this is one of my favourite ones. This one, I think this one was played on the radio, KR, whatever it was, radio show. It's again, it's just they're so tight playing together. It's it's pretty cool stuff, and they're keeping it real, as it were. And what I mean by that is that they reproduce these songs. They're not jazzing them, you know. They're not like sort of using sort of the sort of jazz orientation way of playing things where it's not exactly the same twice. There must be slight variances, but this is a proper song. It's a song from start to finish. They do the same sort of thing. They program the looping the same way. And as we were commenting, I think last time, is that there's quite a few loops that they're creating that are inaudible. And I mean inaudible because it doesn't seem that you can actually hear some of the loops that he's playing on the guitar until he wants you to. And that means that this is why he's got his control. I mean, I don't know whether it's how he's doing it with his foot, but he's using his foot to turn volumes down and various other bits and pieces. I have a feeling he's got. I mean, there are a few cables going into his guitars. I mean, obviously you'd expect the two for the bass and for the lead guitar, but I'm sure there's another cable going at the back for a head. Probably headphones, in-ear monitors and things like that. Now, when you're on a big stage, you have to have in-ear monitors to hear what's going on so they can play tight together. But I've got a feeling you can also hear what he's playing in silence on his lead guitar, which is pretty much what I said last time. So this again has got sort of syncopation, as it were, and timing, strange timings that they've got, and it builds, all of their tracks sort of build to sort of a bit of a rock frenzy. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And it's more pronounced on this album that they're really rocky, they're into their rocky stuff. And that, I think, is where it starts to sound a little bit more familiar when you get into the slightly louder stuff. So, okay, that's that track. I like that one. This one I think's a bit controversial. UTZP, we shall call it. Let's have a listen. I don't know why it's controversial, but some people are sitting on the fence with this one. I don't know why, but we will hear it. If I can get it to play. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so again, stop it there. Yeah, so I can sort of hear why this one's a little bit more controversial. It's a little bit more recognisable. And recognisable, what I mean by that is that it doesn't seem quite so alien. And all their other tracks are like sort of ear... what do I mean by that? Basically, they pull your ears in different directions as to where you're used to having them, with the sound. It's just weird and strange and different and refreshing. This isn't weird, strange, or refreshing, this particular track. Okay, so that's probably what I mean by that. This you could be sitting eating your meal and it would come on the radio and you'd like go, yeah. Okay, well at this point, I'm sure it changes. Let's go. I'll tell you what, let's just listen to a little bit further on. Let's just see if what happens to it. Yeah, and then it goes to sort of the theme, in my opinion, of this track, which is a bit heavy. It's heavier. I even found a bit of silence in that track, didn't I? So, yeah, they go from section to section. These are instrumentals. They're instrumentals. So they build the track. And every as I said before, every track sort of builds up. I'm not sure about this track. I'm also not overly sure about the slightly heavier rocky feel of the tracks. Yeah, okay, so that's that track, and I can see why this one has got a little bit more controversial, as it were. It doesn't really quite sort of stack up to the rest of the album, but it's nice. I like it. It's okay. Okay, next one, Your Zarad. Again, this one, very much into the timing of it and the precision of their playing together. You know, it's like so precise and brilliant. And then it goes into slightly rocky. So the album just sounds more rocky than what they were doing on the radio show. That's just probably the production of it. Don't know, or maybe it's just the guitar sounds. He can actually get a little bit more out of the guitar sounds when he's multi-layering or multi-tracking, if that's what he's doing. As I said, I don't know if any of you guys know whether when it was recorded they multi-tracked it or whether they played it sort of live, you know. And when I went down to Abbey Road and recorded my second album, we wanted to try and record it as live as we possibly could, but we also wanted that segregation so we could sort of adjust things. So we played in sort of different rooms. So I played my guitar in one room and sang, and the drummer and the two guitarists were in the main room in the studio. So we could actually adjust things properly afterwards, you know, and mix them properly. Maybe that's the way these guys have been recording. The drums could have been in a separate room, the guitarist could have been in another room, so that he could play it all sort of live together. I don't know. Do they use their looper? Anyway, that's sort of irrelevant. But if you guys know, let me know. And now this is the last track on the album, and it's called Angor. Let's have a listen to this one. again, the use of time signatures and, and that's very good. It's what they do. Nearly a lot of the, well, is it all of the tracks? I don't know. All of their tracks start with some strange timing things, and they build, they grow. They've got this, it's very much what a sort of a pop song does, isn't it? I'm not trying to class these guys as pop. No way. I mean, they're aliens. We know this. They come from planet wherever it is. But to make a song and a piece of music catchy, as it were, it sort of starts and builds and grows and comes to these guys come to a frenzy. So they're sort of rocky, and they get sort of more, they're faster and more pronounced. Yeah, I think towards the end, I mean, they just get faster and more pronounced, and they draw you in. I think that's probably what they're doing. They're drawing you into it. Now, I don't know whether this is going to really hit people from a dance perspective as well, in clubs and stuff like that. I can just imagine these sort of tracks, they build to a frenzy and they get the audience really sort of with them. And as soon as you're about to start to think, hey, this has been repeated a few many times, it just changes. They know exactly the point to change to a slightly different, loop or a slightly different vibe. It's almost too long sometimes. Some of the tracks are almost, you're thinking, well, this has been repeated a little bit too much. And then, bang, goes. Let's move along a little bit on this one, just a bit. Let's have a listen to the rest of it. Again, we've got sort of distorted drums. It's not my favourite sound to hear, distorted sort of drums. Either that or they're just being compressed a little bit too much. I don't know. Having said that, if I just sit and listen to it, it's fine. There's no problems with it. It's only when I'm starting to try and analyse it that I can hear these compression things and production things that I don't particularly like. As I said, I was drawn into this band by the radio show that they did. And on the radio show, there's no real distortion on the drums. It's pretty clean. The vocal side of it, if you can call them vocals, was different, which is pretty obvious because they're trying to do it live and they've got masks on, or maybe they've got little microphones and they just do their thing. Right, okay, anyway, let's move along just a little bit further. So as I said, they're telling a story that goes from, obviously from beginning to end. They start with the syncopation side of it, then it builds in the middle to a rocky sound, and then right at the end, then they start going a bit more wild to sort of keep you in there. Anyway, look, that's the whole album. Go and listen to it. Please go and listen to it. And if you want to sort of comment with your thoughts about it, for me, I will listen to it. I have listened to it numerous times. I will keep listening to it. I just sort of wish it wasn't quite so lo-fi and slightly distorted on the drums and slightly, pushed to the limit, as it were. Is that negative? No, that's just what their recorded sound is. Who knows what will happen on Volume 3? We don't know. Maybe they'll realise that people really, really got behind their live versions. Maybe they'll just get it changed a little bit. Maybe this was too far advanced in production to actually make any changes to it. Anyway, I know they are from another planet, and they are doing an amazing job. These are real humans making real music and making a real difference. Follow them as much as we can. Just cut out all of this AI absolute rubbish. There's no point to it. It really doesn't get us anywhere. It doesn't add to anything, AI. It just doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, I understand AI in certain areas, but in creative and artistic areas, AI serves no purpose for me. And many of my colleagues and friends and people that I know. Anyway, ADP, they are going somewhere. They're on the way, and it's not back to their own planet. They're staying here. Thank you very much. If you like this video, sorry for the pauses and things. That sort of reaction-y sort of, I'm trying to think what I think about these tracks, you know, and that sometimes gives a pause. And I'm not really a fan of cutting videos together and chopping bits out and things like that, because I just don't think that's very real. And in this world where real is more important, I'd rather leave the mistakes in, and there you go. And I hope you guys like that. So if you do, then like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on my next video. Thank you very much.